As John mentioned, EEDC has a focus on being the kind of place where we can leverage our quality of life so people want to live here and people want to move here to live. But we have a problem here in Edmonton. But I don't think winter is our problem. I think our perspectives on winter are. We talk like winter lasts 6 months long, and I heard 2 people say that this morning. We complain that we go to work and it's dark and we come home and it's dark. It's pretty nice right now. And we also believe in our brains that it's minus 40. When we say winter, it's minus 40 every day of winter. But none of that is really true. So some facts about our problem. If you think about the number of days in the year on average, and this is based on a 10-year history, we average in a winter about 4 days that are colder than minus 30. So we've already had a couple of them. We average about 3 days that are warmer than plus 30. So about the same. But if we think about looking at minus 20 versus plus 20, we have way more warm days than cold, and it's even a more rosy picture if you look at days that are plus 10 to minus 10. So in our brain, when we think winter is minus 40 for a very long time, we have a vivid imagination. We get on average 63 days of snowfall. So how many days is 6 months? It's a heck of a lot longer than 63 days. So again, our memories aren't exactly accurate. One of the things that is another part of winter other than temperature is snowfall. Well, if we think about the disasters of snowfall, we can talk about our inability to get around, and airport closures is an important part of that. In the last 10 years, we've had 3 hours where the Edmonton International Airport has had to close, 100 hours in Denver. And you can also think about cities like Chicago or Houston or Atlanta where they have airport closures. It's not related necessarily to snow. So our problem is maybe more in how we think about winter than the realities of winter. And just as a plug, for those of us who like to get away from winter, even for a week to travel somewhere warm, and that's not a cop-out, I hope that everybody makes good use of the service we have out of our own airport and not flying or not driving to Calgary to fly out of the Calgary airport. Fly Edmonton first. So if that's our problem in our brain, what's our reality? Our reality is that Edmonton has 4 beautifully distinct seasons. One of them happens to be winter. So at EEDC, we're thinking about promoting Edmonton and our quality of life. We need to acknowledge that promoting that quality of life needs to include the reality of winter. So one idea when we're thinking about how can we market Edmonton and our winter is to pitch winter and the novelty experience. I'm sure if I asked you, nobody would admit it, but if you recognize the people in that picture, it's from a TV show that my girls watch called The Millionaire Matchmaker. And an episode last week, the millionaire was from Canada. And so when the millionaire selected the woman he was going to be matched with, he took her on a specialty date that was a novelty date. And it ended up being flying to Vernon to participate in North America's only cold sauna. So you go in there wearing very little, and you walk around for 2 minutes at negative 110 degrees, and you pay $40 for the privilege. There are 80 of these facilities in Europe. This is the only one in in North America. She hated it, but she did admit it was a novelty date. We've already talked about ice bars and ice hotels. We've talked about the novelty of a winter wedding. Now this is interesting. I don't know what you call this kind of craziness or novelty, but this is actually in Edmonton on the North Saskatchewan River. And this is a community in California, and near the Los Angeles area, and they piped in or brought in snow on their main street, and they did some things like they had fresh snow, food trucks, holiday drinks, and even a snowboard simulator. So that's a novelty for them. We have it every day. But when we think about marketing Edmonton, are we better off marketing a novelty that might be kind of kitschy and gimmicky? Or maybe we should focus on something more authentic. Think about this. Where in the world can you not go and find kids kicking around a soccer ball? I can't think of any place. Soccer is ubiquitous, and kids enjoy it all around the world. It's a lot more rare to go in your backyard and build a snowman, or to sit on a chair and have some guy who's probably making cool sounds and funny faces push you around. So it is a more rare experience, and rare things are precious, and they should be appreciated as such. You've probably all heard that expression, when life gives you lemons, right? But as John was saying a little earlier, maybe it's time for us to turn some of our notions upside down and maybe that idea of life giving us lemons is one of those things that we need to turn around. Maybe we need to think about the fact that winter is a reality in Edmonton, but we shouldn't be thinking about that reality as a lemon. If we think about positive examples from other places where people have talked about their winter experiences as an asset, we can do the same thing here. And as John mentioned, winter can be a quality of life and competitive advantage for us in Edmonton. There are very few cities of our size that have the amenities and the services that we can offer, that have the beauty of these 4 distinct seasons and a temperature variation of 60 degrees from average summer and average winter. So are we really taking full advantage of the potential available to us in our winter season? Here's another idea. Necessity is the mother of invention. So we have winter, we have a cold climate. Do those things create any special opportunities for us to be innovative and creative? In our reality, we know that we have exceptional skills in cold climate construction, and other places around the world seek us out for our expertise. Maybe there are other areas, other industries where we could turn our winter experiences into business opportunities. You know, when we think about the technical schools we have here, the research facilities we have, when we think about the great arts community and the educational institutions, maybe we could be the Milan of the North and have a lovely fashion industry. Here's another idea. It's kind of the opposite of thinking about winter as a novelty. Maybe we should market the everyday nature of the winter experience. And then if we think about the last few days, we might go, what the? Maybe this isn't such a good idea because winter isn't always a joyful experience. True enough, but in reality, it's just a couple of days, and we can have some pretty severe conditions, but that's not our norm. The norm for us in our winter are more days like this than the previous picture. And there are very few things in this world that taste as good as a hot dog roasted outside, or when you're having hot chocolate and you can feel that your cheeks are red and tingly. Oh, and also another reality about our winters, and this was a story from John, who is a mentor for a man who moved here from the Philippines. Last winter was his first year here, and John said, well, how was the winter? How did you find it? He said, I loved it. There were no ants. So we're talking about enjoying the winter experience, and this photo is from Scottsdale, Arizona, and I'm sure we can all understand why huddling around a fire is important in Arizona. But it makes me wonder why we don't have more places like that here, where huddling around a fire might actually be quite a lovely experience. And then also thinking about winter patios, I did a Google search and couldn't find very many in North America, but Second Space has winter patios you can buy for $50, and they come in 2 colors. So it exists in a virtual world. I don't know why it can't exist in our real world. So if there's the technology to have heated sidewalks, and if there's a technology to have cold climate construction, and maybe if we can import fire from Arizona, we could create some grand patio spaces here. And some of these pictures have appeared in some of the other presentations as well, but it might be that there's a place outside that you sit under a heater or around a fire or with a blanket, or maybe you have a place where you're sitting inside, but you have a beautiful view of the winter outside. And if you think about the Grand Hall at Jasper Park Lodge, whether you're sitting inside or outside, it's a great experience. And maybe we have more potential to do things like that. Here's another idea, and that's been talked about already. We could adjust our attitude about winter. This is a fabulous sculpture that was put up last summer in Chicago, and just a nice way to enjoy a little bit of the playfulness of the season. And then there are some days that are a little bit more harsh. When we think about our attitude, we can think about, wow, like the celebrating and surviving the experience. So Tuesday was a bitterly cold day, and I was in my office, and John came in the morning, and he was all bundled up, and he went, wow, hi, good morning. I'm so excited to be here. I got up extra early, I planned my route, I had to think about where I was going to park, I had to think about what I was going to wear, but I made it. Whoa, yeah! And he was just stoked because he made it to work. So he had a great attitude about it. In our reality, we already have in our community lots of amazing things and places and festivals that help us feel positive about winter, and that's great. We also can think about our mindset and thinking about our attitudes and thinking how great it feels when you come in from shoveling the snow. We hate to go out there and do it, but when we come back in, we feel pretty good. Another way to think about winter is to help us to make sure that we're always feeling very prepared for winter, because if we're more prepared for it, it's a more enjoyable experience. Unlike some other cities that we like to poke fun at. Being prepared for winter also means a whole bunch of things that could include shelter from the elements, whether that's man-made or God-given or trees or bus shelters. Things like, do we have snow tires and are we prepared for the roads the way that they're going to be covered in white stuff some of the part of the year? It could include how we dress. Our attitudes, and of course even like maybe we could do something like a driving 101 course for people that are experiencing winter for the first time. So some of these things are the responsibility of the city or private sector, but some of them are our responsibilities as well. We could think about marketing Edmonton as a winter wonderland, and we have the potential for that, but I think we need to be really careful about what we promise or what we put out there as a marketing slogan. If we're really going to be successful about marketing Edmonton as a winter wonderland, we, as a community, need to believe it, and we need to live it. We just can't talk about it, or it's not going to ring true anywhere else. And we can't say to people that we're trying to attract here, we've got 4 beautiful seasons and one of them is winter, if none of us do anything other than be hermits in winter. So the message is starting to get out there, not only with the city and their WinterCity strategy, but some of our local media as well. And the December issue of Avenue and the January issue of Where both had great articles about things to celebrate about winter, how to dress in winter, what to love about winter. So that's fabulous that people are talking about it so positively. But, you know, like some things aren't very believable. You look at that picture, you go, yeah, photoshopped. So when we talk about being a great winter city, I'm not sure that it's a believable statement for our greater Edmonton community. I think we have some work still to do to help have people understand that the winter season is great and to find more ways for more people to actively enjoy winter. And I think we need to do a better job promoting it. So finally, to wrap it up and connect the dots, we know Edmonton needs to be globally competitive. We know we need to be able to attract and retain talented people. We know that quality of life is a critical part of where people choose to live. And for us here in Edmonton, winter is part of our quality of life, and I would suggest an undervalued part of that. So for the future health of our economy and our community, we need to leverage the quality of life that we have here year-round. As the city experiences winter, we need to embrace what we have, and we need to fix what needs improvement. And we need to enjoy winter locally so we can market it abroad. So this symposium is a fabulous launching point, and the rest is up to us.